Hi, I'm Susanna from the yoga, and this is a short pregnancy yoga class. Please make sure that you check my website to look for any individual circumstances. Make sure that you're keeping yourself as safe as possible, and I hope you enjoy the class. Thank you. So one shoulder, easing it out and round, and then the other shoulder, same thing. Shoulders really comfortable and easy. And then both shoulders, letting them come up and sinking them down, wide. Up and in again, and down and away. And then one last time, shoulders coming up, and then this time you're going to sink your shoulders down so they're gently pressing down towards the floor. From here, you're going to bend your knees up a touch. You're going to lean yourself up and forwards so the shoulders stay down, the back of the body is nice and wide. And then you're going to walk your hands up your legs so that you can take hands close in beside your hips. Shoulders come down, elbows extend slightly back. So we've got a widening out across the chest, out across the upper chest as well. And then bringing your hands onto your legs so that you can lean yourself slightly up and forward. So knees are soft, and they could be very soft if you prefer. Walking your hands up your legs. And then we're going to do a little bit of bump and baby massage. So you're just going to go hand over hand over your bump and over your baby. So big, wide, sweeping movements. And then hands are going to come down through one side of your bump and baby. Hands are coming underneath your bump or across the lower area. And then through the other side. Last of all, over the top of your bump or across your rib cage. And then let your hands settle somewhere onto your bump and baby. Let your gaze come down and onto the floor, or let your eyes close. And take a moment to breathe easily. A moment just to feel settled and to notice how you are. To notice the physical body. Notice your breathing. How your energy levels are. And imagining how your baby is as well. And then taking a deeper, easy breath. And beginning to let your head and neck move. And let your body move in any way that you would like. And we're going to come into all fours from here. So when you feel ready to move, you're going to take your legs over to one side. So you can slide your hips up and into all fours. So you're going to have a comfortable distance between your hands and your knees. You're going to have a little bit of space between the hands. And we're going to start by sliding our shoulders from one side to the other side. So think about easing the upper back out and doing whatever you would like to do with your shoulders right now, so that or your shoulders, upper back, and your head and your neck, so that you start to get that feeling of the upper back beginning to ease out, feel more comfortable and more fluid. And then you're going to bring your hips to the center so that your shoulders become more stable. And this time you're going to move your hips. And again, we're going to going to go with a side-to-side sort of movement, but you might want to adapt this so it's different. So you might want to move your hip to one side and ease it back more, and then to the other side, or you might be quite happy with that side-to-side movement of the hips. And then you're going to bring yourself to a nice comfortable all fours position. We're going to walk our elbows down and onto the ground so that your elbows are making contact with your mat. And if you've got long sleeves, if you just want to slide them up a little bit. And then you're going to slide your hips forwards and back. So we're letting the shoulders come over the elbows, and then we're sliding the hips back from there. So the elbows draw back and then over the elbows again. And as your hips come back, you're going to get that feeling of lengthening through the tailbone, through the lower back, through the spine. And you're going to start to use your breathing, so the breathing is going to start synchronized with the movement. So a really nice way of doing it is that as the hips come back, breathe out, sigh out, allow the back to it. And then let your weight settle into your elbows again. We're going to have the option of coming up into an elbow dog pose. So that is where our elbows are on the floor and we lift up our legs. Or lift up our knees. For this one, if you are in the last trimester of pregnancy and your baby's in a good position, best to stay just with rocking back and forth, either on your elbows or on the hands if you prefer that feeling. And if you're earlier in pregnancy and it feels good, this is a lovely thing to do to lengthen out the back and the legs. So you're just going to start by letting your hips slide back and forwards. And we tend to come up into this one a little bit quicker and out of it quicker than dog pose, so that when the hips are coming back, we're going to press into the elbows to lift up with the hips. We're going to get a nice feeling of lengthening up through the tailbone, pressing down through the elbows, and then down to the knees, and resting yourself back. So either head high if you've had heartburn, so high up into your hands, or all the way down and onto the floor if it feels better for you. Just making sure that you take enough space for your bump and your baby. Nice, easy breathing. Notice how your body feels after that. And then when you feel ready to move, if you bring yourself back and into all fours. So we're going to do a movement with one leg when we're drawing it into, or one knee and drawing it slightly inwards. So for this one, if your pelvis hasn't been comfortable, it's maybe better to stay with both knees on the floor and just rocking back and forth. If your pelvis has been comfortable, you're going to lift one knee and you're just going to be sliding your leg back and out. So we're going to let the knee come in slightly and then out to the back. So it's a nice, steady, smooth movement where there's some control through the leg and through the hips. And then we're going to let that knee settle down and onto the ground. And then the other side, same thing, nice, smooth, steady movement. Using your breath again, so you're breathing the leg out. And then let your knees settle down and onto your mat. Let your hips and your shoulders move slightly, so we're easing out through the back, just letting the body move freely. And then coming to even. We're going to come up to standing from here. So we're going to do this by walking our hands back and up our legs. But if you have a way you prefer to come up, then do feel free to do that. So you're walking your hands in towards your knees, pressing through the hands, and then walking your hands up your legs to come all the way up into standing. And you're going to come to just a comfortable standing position. So a little bit of space between the feet so that you feel settled and steady. Hands are going to come in towards your heart and shoulders are going to relax down. Inhaling, the hands are going to come up. Exhaling, hands are coming out and down. So starting to go with the rhythm of your breath. So going as fast or as slow as feels right. Breathing out, softening as the hands come down. Feeling that little bit of strength and energy as the hands come up. Then as the hands come down, we soften, we accept, we settle. And then letting your hands come down to your sides. From here, we're going to take a step along your mat. So you're just going to take a comfortable step. So it can be a tiny step if the pelvis has been uncomfortable through the front or the back. It can be a slightly bigger step if it feels good for you. Settle down through both feet so we get nice and strong on the floor. Hands are going to come in towards your heart. Shoulders relax down. And then you lean yourself slightly up and forwards. So both feet stay nice and strong. The shoulders can stay really high. There shouldn't be any feeling of discomfort in the back. So bring your shoulders as high up as you need. And then press down through the feet to bring yourself up and back to standing. And then opposite foot is going to step back. So just a comfortable step for you. Hands come in towards the heart, shoulders release down. Steady through the feet, lift the shoulders up and forwards. So see if you can really feel that feeling of what's underneath your feet. So you feel the floor. That'll help that energy come up through the legs and allow the back to be protected. Press down through the feet to bring yourself up and back to standing. We're going to come into a version of triangle pose now. So if you bring yourself so that you've got a little bit of mat in front of you, you're going to take a natural smallish step, both feet facing straight forwards. You're going to let your back hand rest onto your back leg. Front hand is going to come up and overhead. So you're going to get that feeling of spreading down through the front foot and lifting up through the top hand. So back hand is resting on the back of your leg, and then you're going to pour yourself forwards so that your front hand comes onto your thigh. And then scoop up with the front hand all the way up and overhead again, and back to standing. Settled and even feet. And then opposite foot's going to step in front. So steady little steps, or medium step if your pelvis has been happy. Back hand settles onto your back leg. Front hand comes up and overhead. Breathe nice and wide. And then pour yourself forward so that your front hand comes onto your thigh. And then scoop up with the front hand all the way up and overhead. And then back to standing. So back to settled, even, steady feet. What we're going to do now is going to do a version of tree pose. So if you want to bring yourself to standing, and bring yourself so that you've got something beside you, so that you've got that little bit of support, which can sometimes just make things feel a little bit better. If your pelvis has been uncomfortable for this one, you can either do just a little bit so that the knee rolls or the heel lifts and the knee comes forwards. And it might be that that's enough, or you can work with your feet both down on the floor if you would prefer. So you're going to take your hand onto the support. You're going to float your leg that's on the non-support side. You're going to float that knee forwards. And then you're going to choose whether you want to rotate it round, which puts more movement through the thigh, more movement through the pelvis. So just being mindful that that's comfortable for you. Either keeping one hand on the support, or you're going to bring both hands in towards you. Shoulders relax down. As you inhale, you're going to point your fingertips up. As you exhale, hands coming out to the front and down. And then you're going to bring your fingertips to pointing up. So inhaling, fingertips up. Exhaling, fingertips extending. Again, go with the speed of your breathing so this feels natural and good. And then one last time. So as you take your hands down this time, you're just going to settle your hands onto your bump and your baby. And shoulders soft. And then we're going to come to the opposite side. So we're going to settle our feet steadily. Opposite leg is going to fold forwards. And then if your pelvis has been comfortable, it can rotate round and onto the ankle. You can find that little bit of support beside you. And then if you'd like to, you can bring one or both hands in towards your heart. We're going to do the same movement with the hands. So put fingers going up as we inhale. Exhaling out and down. Going at your rhythm, so go as fast or as slow as feels right for you this evening. Nice and steady and smooth. And then this next time that your hands come down, you're going to settle them onto your bump and your baby. And just make that little quiet connection with your baby. And then bringing your feet both back to even, so we come back to that nice settled and steady feet. We're going to take our hands onto a bit of support now. So I've got a bit of window ledge here that I'm going to use. You can use a bit of sofa, you can use a bit of flat wall, and you're going to take your hands either to about kind of rib cage height or bump height, just depending on what you've got there. So what we're going to do is we're going to, yeah, you can still see, we're going to do a little bit of that kind of very early stage of labour, how we might find a good position for that. So you're going to settle your hands onto the support you've got, and you're going to take your feet a little bit wide, and you're going to bend your knees a touch. And you're going to let the weight come down through your hands. So you've not got your hands directly under you. You've got your hands a little bit far, a little bit away from you. And from this position, it's a really, really good position to sway your hips from one side to the other side. So you can keep your hips moving nice and easily, whilst you've got the support of or through the hands and the shoulders. So that feeling of being able to lean onto something is really, really important for most women in labour. And then you're going to bring your hips back to the centre. We're going to come back down to the floor now. So if you want to bring yourself up to standing, and now we're going to come down to the ground and we're going to do the opposite of how we came up. So we're going to slide our hands down our legs, and then you're going to walk yourself out and into all fours. So you're asking about positions for labour. So there's that standing up one, and then as you get closer to, or as labour progresses, you might end up in all fours. You can do the same sort of thing, just like we did at the beginning class, of sliding the hips from one side to the other side. And of course, the in-between version of this would be to be on a bed or something. I've only got this at the moment. So kind of halfway down, and that's sometimes more comfortable than being in all fours. And then the last thing that we're going to do right now is we're going to bring the right leg up towards the side if your pelvis has been comfortable. So if it's not been comfortable, just make it a little kneel forward. If your pelvis has been comfortable, you can let your foot come onto the floor. And you're just going to rock back and forth here. So you could have your hands on the floor like we do now. You could have your hands onto a bed and just be resting, or onto a ball, which will move a little bit. And these are all really, really good ways of labouring so that your body position helps your labour to progress well. And then you're going to slide your knee back and into all fours. Let your hands settle into flat. And then what we're going to do is we're going to come to sitting. So from here you can bring your hips up to one side, and you can sit yourself onto a block so that you've got that little bit of support. And we're going to bring our legs out and in front. So your feet are often going to be a little bit apart in pregnancy, so there's space for your bump and baby. As you get more pregnant, it's important to start lifting yourself off the floor so that there's space here for your baby, because it can get a little bit full feeling. And do let your knees bend up that little bit so that the lower back can feel nice and lifted. From here, you're going to roll one shoulder up and then extend it out and back, and let the hand on this side move back towards your hip. So you've got a really nice movement through the upper chest, but you've still got your bump and baby facing the front. So this is just the upper chest that's moving, the upper part, very upper part of the spine. Bring yourself back to the center, and then the other side. So shoulder rolls up, and then out and down. So sink the shoulder down. And then bring yourself back to the center. You're going to let your legs lengthen out, and you're going to give your feet a little bit of a move around. So whether you're scrunching your toes in or bringing them towards you and away from you, just whatever would be comfortable for you. And then if you bring yourself to comfortable sitting, so just however you would like to sit for a little bit of breathing. So first of all, you're just going to let your breathing start to feel natural. So you might want to take your hands somewhere onto your body where you can feel your in-breath expanding your body, and then the out-breath letting you get a bit smaller. So you're just going to notice how it feels from here. And then as you breathe out, you're going to start to breathe out through your mouth. So ideally, you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. As you get later in pregnancy, you might find that you need to breathe in and out through your mouth, so just go with the flow if that happens for you. And as you're breathing out, you're seeing if you can gently extend that out breath, so that the breath in is easy, and the breath out is easy, but starts to get that a little bit longer. And then let your breathing just settle and become even for a moment. So we're just going to run through that wave of breathing. So I'm aware of a couple of you are going to want to practice this and do this, particularly with your timing. So we're going to start with that soft, easy sigh out. Breath out coming through the lips. Moving to that middle breath, long, smooth breath out. In your own time, imagining your breath out is coming out and into the center of the room. Right the way to that top breath, the gentle puffs. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Back to that middle breath. Breath out is long and smooth and steady. Easy breath in. Long, smooth, steady breath out. And then back to that first breath, just that easy sigh. Really soften as you breathe out. And last time. And now if you settle yourself down onto your left-hand side if it's comfortable, so that you can enjoy relaxation. Taking whatever it is you need from your home, getting yourself comfy, allowing yourself to fidget, whether you need a cushion between your knees or one underneath your head, whether you just want to change the position of your hands or your feet. Letting yourself get really comfortable. And each time that you breathe out, your body gets more comfortable, more settled. The physical body relaxes. Your physical body gets heavier, softer, easier. Your mind gets a little bit quieter. And you become more aware of just breathing in and breathing out. Of feeling comfortable and feeling supported. Supported by the ground beneath you. Supported by your body. And knowing that your body is nurturing and protecting your baby. Allowing each breath to let your body soften further. And then letting your breathing begin to deepen. And taking a hand to your baby.